The girl just touched the pregnant woman's hand. The bell on her hand kept ringing. Suddenly the girl choked herself and coughed violently. She pointed at the pregnant woman's stomach and said the baby was having trouble breathing. The pregnant woman thought the girl was playing a prank, but a few days later, the baby was stillborn due to a tangle in the umbilical cord. The woman was furious. She thought the girl had cursed her baby. The girl was considered a curse by everyone around her. The father had to take her with him and move again, because not long ago, the girl was performing in a church. Suddenly, she saw all the people in the audience die, even her own mother. She couldn't help but count them. There were 31 people in total. Everyone was shocked by the girl's strange behavior. The priest tried to exorcise her, but the girl stared at her and said he was the murderer of the 31 people. The priest looked horrified. As expected, the girl's prophecy came true. That night, all 31 people died of poison, but the girl smiled strangely at the scene. The police arrived at the scene soon after. They investigated and concluded that the fanatics had committed mass suicide. But strangely, 32 suicide notes were found at the scene, but there were only 31 bodies. At the same time, a man ran for his life with a girl in his arms. He told her not to look back, as if something was coming after her. Suddenly the girl told the man to stop. She heard a strange ringing of bells. They came to a clearing and dug up a package. When they opened it, they found a bell inside. Strangely, she was the only one who could hear it, so she kept the bell in her hand. When she grew up, Anna became a detective. One day, an old man came to report a crime. She said her daughter had been missing for 4 hours, but the police officer next to her looked impatient. He told the old man he couldn't file a case if an adult had been missing for less than 24 hours. The police told him to go home and wait, but Anna understood the old man's feelings. When she held the girl's photo again, the bell rang again. This girl is being chased by a man in white gloves. She accidentally falls to the ground. The man immediately goes after her and strangles her with a rope. Then he cruelly hangs her from a tree. Suddenly Anna woke up from her dream. She knew it wasn't a dream. It seemed that the old man's daughter was in grave danger. She wrote down everything she saw in the dream. Then she went to the mountain where the girl was killed, but the villagers said they hadn't seen the girl in the photo. Anna had to keep searching in the mountain. On the other hand, the police department is in a meeting about the recent serial murders. The recent murders are the same as those of a few years ago. The police found that the victims were all frail women. There were no signs of assault or violence. This suggests that the murderer is of a thin build, and the motive for the murders is purely murder. Based on the area of the crime scene, the murderer may be a cab driver. When the police reviewed the surveillance video, they found that all 3 victims had taken the same cab before the accident, so he immediately pinpointed the cab. Meanwhile, Anna went into the mountains. She met a cab driver. She took out a photo of the missing girl and asked him if he'd seen her before. The driver said he hadn't seen her, but his face started to twitch. Anna suddenly remembered that the murderer in her dream had the same symptoms. She began to suspect the driver, so she asked to check the car's car recorder, but she didn't expect the driver to cooperate. When he entered the house, Anna watched the car for any suspicious clues. Unbeknownst to her, the driver was standing in front of the window staring straight at her. Then he invited Anna into the house to watch the video. As the computer was playing the video, it suddenly went black. The screen reflected that the driver was wearing white gloves behind his back. Anna sensed something was wrong. She quietly grabbed a pen to protect herself. Just as the driver was about to make his move, the police arrived in time to arrest him. The driver was taken away for investigation, but the police were curious about Anna. How did she find the suspect with just a photo? But Anna couldn't explain her powers. She just gave a random reason. The police didn't go any further, because he only has 48 hours to find out the evidence of the driver's crime. Otherwise, he could only release the driver. So he went to the interrogation room himself. But he didn't interrogate him directly. Instead, he chatted with the driver. They chatted about hobbies and interests to the type of girls they liked. He wanted to find the best time to interrogate the driver, so he deliberately poured coffee on him. Then he touched his body. He found that the driver's arm had been broken many times. He asked him if he was abused as a child. The driver's face began to twitch. These words evoked the tragic experiences of his childhood. Seeing that the driver was about to break down, he took out the photo of the missing girl to stimulate him. I didn't expect the driver to suddenly calm down. He realized that the other man was not a simple man. He went under the table and took off his shoes. Then he said that a person with cleanliness fetish would not allow his shoes to be so dirty. It seems he didn't have time to clean them after the crime. He immediately arranged to have the soil on the bottom of the shoes analyzed. They found a pollen called silver lotus. They found the missing girl's body according to the location of the flower. They found blood under the girl's fingernails. The driver also had scratches on his neck. All it took was a DNA check to convict him. But the driver didn't panic at all. He even asked the police to prepare dinner for him. But when the results came out, they were unexpected. The DNA of the two did not match. The police were furious. The driver will be acquitted in half an hour. Anna suddenly remembered the details of her dream, so she immediately rushed to the interrogation room. She grabbed her neck in front of the driver. Then she said the Bible he was reading when he committed the murder. The driver had an emotional breakdown. He hit the wall frantically to restrain himself. Anna pulled him away to confess. Suddenly the bell in her hand rang. She saw again the murder that was about to take place. Tonight another girl will die at his hands. But the police had to let him go when the time was up. In a moment of desperation, Anna rushed out and drew her gun on the driver. She told everyone not to let him go, but the police stopped him. Unbeknownst to him, he would regret this action for the rest of his life, because the driver's next target is his sister.
Thank you for watching. The title is Children of the Lesser Gods.